because it is time for Dave Meltzer's Dummy Dum Dum Dippity Doo Da Dummy Dumb Moment of the Week. So what do we have here? Meltzer said what? He's got a little clip of Dave Meltzer. We're starting with a clip. We're coming in hot. Wow, 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 wow. So actually, let's go back in time. We're going to go back in time with Meltzer a little bit. And Meltzer said what? Where I believe this is in January. Dave said, here's Dave just totally freestyling fake max viewing numbers out of thin air, which he admits he doesn't know. NFL gets 9%, blah, blah, blah. Guys, we've heard this before, but let's rip through some of this so you guys can hear Dave Meltzer's stupidity because it's going to relate to the very current clip, and you guys will understand why.
Last year when it dwindled, especially Nation Report, I absolutely was alarmed. And I mean, if it cuts in half again, if it goes from, whatever these numbers are now, and it cuts in half like it did in 18th report from last year. Unless I get some good max numbers, I would say this isn't good. But if it, I'm going to say that it's exactly what I expect. Slow. People are going to switch to max, and that's fine. You're not losing anything.
I don't think that they have lost viewers. I think it's only a positive. It has to be only a positive.
No, it's. No, it's you guys remember that? Now here's the thing, it is a positive. Like they're not losing viewers because it's on max, but they're not gaining any either. You can't argue that.
It's so far this year, it's we don't even know, but it's very clearly it's a positive to a degree.
Or you can assume okay, probably some more people. Like there's got to be one person in the world who's like, oh, I'll check this shit out. That's like a very minimal thing.
Is it a giant positive or just a small positive? That's the question that we don't have answered. But it's absolutely because, at worst, we're talking there's going to be 10%, and I think it's going to be more than 10%.
At worst, 10%. How can you say that?
NFL's 10%, and that's older audience.
NFL's 10, and they're older. No one's watching AEW. Like, how dare you compare it to NFL?
And it's not an audience that's as whatever I would call, you know what I mean? Like if
it's not an audience. It's whatever I would call. You know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean.
Whatever,
when I say you know what I mean, the chat knows what I mean. Know what I mean? We don't know what you mean, bro.
Monday Night Football, where people are just used to watching NBC. Plus, NBC's in way, way, way more homes than cable anyway.
Bro, he started and didn't finish like 14 sentences already. God damn, I love doing throwbacks for these reasons,
But people are used to watching NBC, and they're still like, Peacock gets about 10% more, 9% more is the exact number. But so it's gonna be more than for
10% more, 9% more is the exact. So you predicted they'd get more than WWE, you idiot.
Excuse younger.
With the chart we showed where Netflix has like 8% of the whole streaming market share or whatever, or 11, and then Max has 1.2.
And because the wrestling audience,
what an idiot, man! This is so funny. Like, how do people not just go, "Oh, this guy's restarted"?
Using streaming services because there's, it's just more conducive to it because WWE went to Peacock so early and everything, or before that had the WWE Network, and there's all the other wrestling networks out there. So it's going to be higher for wrestling for sure because of the nature of the fans and how the fans have been weaned. But again, I don't know.
No, you're basing that on WWE, and you say WWE fans, like pretty much everyone they're just sheep, casual, whatever. So like how all of a sudden casual viewers now are going to pick up AEW? That just goes against everything Dave ever says and all these sickos say. It's so funny.
Okay, it's good,
Yeah, whatever. We know 10%. Okay, it's good. Listen to what he says.
If it's 20%, it's better.
If it's 20%, it's better. No, that's like insanely good because that's impossible.
If it's 40%.
If it's 40, and then he keeps saying 30, he skips over 30, and then all of his fans go 30, 30, 30, because he just makes up it's 30. We went over the 30 saga with Meltzer, right? The dirty 30s. And then here's Dave, the ratings are up and it's due to Max. AEW ratings down, it's due to Max. Whether positive or negative, Dynamite Dave attributes it to a phantom Max number of viewers. The phantom Max viewers, cousins with the phantom bookmark of Phil's bookmark opera here, which he admits he doesn't know how many there are or even have a baseline metric to guess. Truly awful reporting. So Dave just pulling shit out of his asshole like usual.
Collision number overall, all things considered.
Also, Collision's been doing bigger numbers. They have these big lead-ins, so they're way greatly inflated. And it's hilarious hearing Dave try and invent fake reasons other than, well, they have giant lead-ins. And we're using an inflated overall because we should be cutting out the lead-in and the overrun.
Collision number overall, all things considered, has to be considered successful, especially with that lineup, because it was not, it wasn't like the lineup like today's show where you had a pretty good lineup. And, if the number's up, you could go, well, look, they put a world title match on TV and they had a lot of long, good matches. So.
Just listen to this guy, man. Listen to this. Can I bring it back? Sorry, I gotta bring it back. I almost don't even know what he said, but it was just funny. Here.
It wasn't like the lineup like today's show where you had a pretty good lineup.
It wasn't like the lineup like today's show where you had a pretty good lineup.
And, if the number's up, you could go, well, look, they put a world title match on TV.
No, you can't with AEW. Dave, none of that shit that applies to WWE applies to AEW. None of the shit that applies to TNA applies to AEW. If they go world title match, if Moxley has the title, no one gives a I'm sorry, bud. Okay? No one gives a dude. No, you don't just apply. And he's trying to say, well, if that was the case, you could say, oh, well, they did this. And he always says what you could say. That's like these fake what ifs. If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. All these what ifs he does. And it's always like the idea behind there's more than meets the eye. Well, if this, then this, but that didn't happen, so none of that matters. But guys can just go say this stuff because I say it, and you're too dumb to understand what I'm saying because you can't follow what I'm saying, Brian. Man.
Brian.
And Dave's a loser. I'm actually mad at him, and we're gonna get into that in a bit.
And they had a lot of long, good matches. So
they have long, good matches.
If it's up, and again,
if it's up, but if it's down, he's literally telling people how to lie for AEW. Well, if it's down, then it's like, well, we don't bring up that there was a title match. But if it's up, we go, well, it's because of this thing. Shut up, man.
With the Collision thing and also with the Dynamite thing, we're still not getting the full story because without the max numbers,
it is the full story, Dave. It is the full story. It is the full story. They don't all of a sudden have 1 million watching, so it doesn't matter. Let's say they're doing 700,000. What does that prove? Like, what an idiot.
Again, the older viewers watching Collision, it was, it tells me that the younger, there probably were a lot of younger viewers, and they probably were watching on Max, and I think the same thing.
Oh, my God. So the key demo that's been slowly declining for AEW. Because I told you guys it's just going to be the old sicko, the old heads who watch that shit sooner or later. Dave mysteriously just so when the key demo's up, is all the key demo's up. When all of a sudden they vanish, she goes, well, the rise in the older people watching it, I would say it's not because it's old people who are out of touch like me who are starting to watch it now, because I'm convincing the old folks home to watch it, but I'm going to assume all the young people were just watching on Max. Shut the up. It's just such lies.
Shut up, bitch.
He just says it, bro. It's crazy. We have to just I should start cutting a segment where I do legit news and try and trick people into thinking I'm legit. And I'm just making shit up about Max. For real. We should just start making shit up about them to goad them into Max one day going, no, this is our AEW numbers, right? That should be what we do. Chat. Let's try and organize that, right? Is that illegal? Then we're not doing it. But if it's all good, it's a protest. We're just protesting, right? We're going to start a petition. Yeah, for to get the... We should. How do we just fact check Dave? And I'm willing, if 500,000 are watching on Max, I'm going to go, and I want to see the minutes watched. No one cares about your old ass metrics, Dave. We care about the new shit, bro. Yeah, let's continue.
For today's show, I think
I'm gonna go too hard on him. I want to save a bit for in a little bit here because he's being gross. And when Dave gets gross, I do the most.
That there might be an increase in older viewers watching today's show. There should be, in theory.
In whose theory? In Austin's theory. In whose theory? Dave, in your theory. It's always just your theory, though. What do you know?
Depending on the competition. But I think that the younger viewers, if there's any increase, that's going to mostly be on, that's going to mostly be on Max. So it won't be.
Why? Why? Show us, explain why it would be on Max. Why would the young? Oh, well, it's on demand. They all just flip on over. Oh my God. The young demo that is living at home with their parents longer and longer now, and they're just like using their mom's Netflix more than likely. You mean the 18-year-olds who, are deciding if they're going to like work or go to college, and they're using their mom's, like, if their mom has Max, maybe. Like, what the are you talking about? Dave is just such a silly goose, man.
TV rating.
All right.
And you can just attribute anything to the invisible Max. Ooh, the invisible Max number. We don't know what it is. It could be anything, right? We don't know. It could be good. It could not be. Let's just attribute everything to it, though, regardless of what happens. You know what I mean? Here's Trying Bryan. He was Lying Bryan. Now he's Trying Bryan. He's trying. He's back to Trying Bryan. Depends what mood I'm in. But Dave Meltzer is going to have very harsh words for Bryan. Let's take a listen.
To Lex Luger. True. It is very, very important to Lex Luger.
And Bryan agrees and listens to PWT confirmed.
Lex. It means a lot to Lex Luger. True. It is very, very important to Lex Luger. Lex Luger's had a lot of hard battles in his life. He's just now, thanks to DDP, learning to stand up out of a wheelchair on his own.
And this is after Dave was like, I would not let him go there. I mean, think about the other time when RVD, Lex didn't get to be shown on camera on their pay-per-view as like a selling point for this pay-per-view for Sting. Or the Hall of Fame, that's a free thing that'll probably be on YouTube for most of the world, and it'll be on Netflix, and it's just like a thing people get that won't even do huge. Now, maybe it will. Doesn't even need to. No one cares. It's just to honor legends. Like, what? It's a huge difference. And also, Rob Van Dam wrestled for you assholes when I'm pretty sure you had a Legends deal. And a lot of Billy Gunn this whole time, okay? Could have been in WWE video games and shit. Sting, I think, as well, is cool. Like, because his licensing shit is a whole other situation. Let's listen to what Bryan has to say.
He's getting this Hall of Fame induction, which is very important to him, and he wants Sting to induct him into the Hall of Fame. So if it's me and I make the decision, I'm letting Sting induct the guy into the Hall of Fame. Now, yeah, you can do all of the business arguments. Oh, well, WWE's doing a full tour.
Someone in chat goes, just have Wolfpack Sting induct him. And yeah, he goes, yeah, brother, I can do both. He shows up, Wolfpack.
The week that AEW is in Europe, and they let this
Texas.
No, in when they're doing their they're doing.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, at the end of August.
Well, both.
But I mean, the thing to me is that's all business. Okay. How is Lex Luger being inducted by Sting going to drastically boost WWE's business? It's not. Isn't the Hall of Fame airing at like 2 a.m.? Like, what difference is it going to make in WWE's business?
Exactly. But if Luger was in the crowd, they could show that and like replays of the pay-per-view could have got bought. But even that too, Luger wouldn't have changed anything for AEW. And the problem is that they'd be like, well, WWE did that. Cool. So do you want to be the asshole who doesn't give the fans what they want? Like, Jesus Christ, AEW, you're not competition. Okay. The challenger brand, the number 2. So first they're the competition. Then, we're the challenger brand. Now we're the number 2. Take that. WCW and Eric Bischoff and Jim Cornette and Dutch Mantel. Like you.
If AEW allows Sting to induct Luger, what difference is it going to make in AEW's business if they allow Sting to induct Luger? The answer is it's going to make no difference in business for anybody.
The only thing it might do is some people might go, oh, I want a Sting t-shirt now. Some kid, maybe an adult's like, oh, Sting, dope. I'm going to look up Sting. Oh, where do I get a Sting shirt? Oh, AEW shop or whatever. And then maybe you sell some merch. Like, just be like, yeah, you guys can use Sting. He has to be able to wear his AEW Sting shirt. And then WWE will probably say no to that. And that's how that goes.
But it will make a big difference to Lex Luger.
Yeah, I just think we need to think about the wrestlers a little bit who give their bodies and their lives. Thank you, Bryan Bryan, for trying there. So again, Bryan Bryan, we have Bryan Alvarez here, a bit of a longer clip, and Bryan criticizing again, Bryan Bryan, because he's criticizing AEW. Where's my Bryan? Criticizing AEW, and yeah, George says have fake Sting and Lex Luger. So let's get into him, Bryan telling Meltzer where the booking's up here, I guess.
And Garcia, it was a baby.
And criticizing Garcia, who's, I'm so sorry, nobody will ever care. Junior heavyweight, put him in a tag team, put him under a mask. Like, no one will ever give a shit at a high level, okay? That's the problem.
Face did celebrate retaining on a draw, which was kind of heelish. Adam Cole was furious. And the one thing I'll say about this show is, to me, if you're going to do a 1 hour or
and it's true, celebrating winning a draw is corny shit, even in MMA. So it's just corny celebrating it. Yeah, I took it to the limit with one of my favorite greats. Yeah, it's such fantasy mark shit, dude. Holy.
Our show with a 20-minute draw. There shouldn't be 4 matches on the show. Because they did no entrances for this match. They rang the bell as the show went on the air. They did the 20 minutes, and then they were out of there. And there was no follow-up on this show whatsoever. And they just went right on. We got to get to Max Caster's open challenge. And it made the match feel less important than it should have felt.
I thought that in both nights, they opened with that audience, and they wanted to get right to the ring. And I felt that they should have set it up more. Also, I'm not sure that they picked the right matches.
Even Dave is like, I'm not sure they picked I wouldn't have booked that, Bryan. Let's hear. I bet here's the thing, though. I guarantee you go look at his stars. It's probably all like 3, 3.75, 4, and shit. I guarantee you. They didn't pick the right matches. So the matches should have like 1 or 2 stars, 2.5, like halfway to 5, right? I bet they're all like 3.75, Bryan, 4.2.
Because the thing that worked so well with, of course, you can't do Omega and Ospreay and Takeshi and Fletcher.
Sting is El Grande.
Sometimes in life, you got to be a hoe.
Oh, Bryan. Fuck. That's good shit, pal.
Week on television. But the thing that worked so well in Australia was doing that. You open, you come in with that, something that's going to wow everyone. And this one, it's like, boom, you're in the ring in the match with Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole's going on. And it's because imagine Garcia comes out and does the dick wiggle on his way to the ring. You think that's going to keep people locked in, or do you think Tony Khan's smarter than you even on this one and being like, well, if they can see what they can do in the ring, which isn't going to work, sorry, because they're just not cool. Like Garcia doesn't look cool like Psychosis and Rey Mysterio and La Parka and Juventud Guerrera. Those guys look cool. And the shit they did was legit, man. So I'm sorry. Adam Cole is a shell of himself. And I don't hate, I'm a huge Undisputed Era mark. I really am. From that era of black and gold NXT, but I think they peaked there. And Garcia, no one's ever going to get behind. I'm so sorry. I don't care how many dirt sheet writers he knows and he hangs out with. I don't even hate Garcia. He's not a bad wrestler. It's not like I don't see it in him or anything. He's just a kid who needs a mouthpiece. You put him with like a really hot girl that guys want to like punch him in the face and take from him. You have him be a heel. Let him do his little corny dick wiggle thing. And you push him as like your junior heavyweight, bro. Start a cruiserweight division. God damn it. Everybody's like, oh no, the wrestler. No one cares about that shit. It is 2025. John Jones, the baddest dude to ever walk the planet, was a light heavyweight. Do you think he cares that he was a light heavyweight and not the heavyweight champ? Like, no, it doesn't mean shit, you know? Just start a light heavyweight division. There you go. It has heavyweight in it. And let Garcia be your champ and put Adam Cole and all your flip guys, let them all go there and just have at it. And or be like, this is the E division. And we talked about it before. There are no limits, you know? The X division, like start your own thing like that. Instead, it's just let's give them this meaningless TV title that at one point people like Cody Rhodes and Brody Lee held, and you know, and Miro. It's unbelievable. And like Cassidy being shoehorned into main events again. You know, Tony Khan, this Dynamite was good for the stars featured. Like if they just focus on the core people, they can put together good shows. Like overall, it wasn't a bad Dynamite. You know, some of the matches went a little long, but that women's tag main event was what it was, you know. But I don't know. Garcia's just no one's gonna take it seriously, no matter how hard they try.
Like championship match, but like again, like the key to these shows is that it's not there's a lot of people who are not regular watchers of your show that are watching. And the one, you know what I mean? And that's what you're trying to attract. That's the whole reason that TNT's putting you there, is the fact that you're a valuable commodity to us. And so we're going to use.
No, you're a valuable commodity to us, Dave. No, they're putting it there because Tony has friends in high places. Okay. And he has a shitload of money. And he's a mark who will throw that money around and make dumb deals that don't work for him and that are stupid and bad and that they can take advantage of. Okay. And so they go, if you get us 500,000 live people watching, because we care about live viewership now and live minutes watched. And this is the way people view stuff going in the future. It's not this weird thing you're doing. Okay. You know, that's why they're like, we don't listen to the online chatter of the hate. Of course they don't. And there wouldn't even be hate if Dave Meltzer just shut the f up and stopped shilling and just said what it was. Oh, they lost to NXT. Shit. Yeah, the metrics they measure it by are different. The key demo is this. You know, Netflix measures a different key demo, and they, you know, multiple demos and minutes watched and shit. So I don't know. We don't know the max numbers, so I'm just not going to assume anything about them. I'll just go by what's here and being realistic. I don't think too many. He can't just do that. I don't think too many people are going to switch over, or there's going to be like a surgence, but for sure some people might. You know, there's always there's a handful of people, I'm sure, who watch on Max and some who switched over instead of like, well, we did 30%. That's when like you're trying to be conducting studies and doing the news. No, that's when you get called out for being a liar, dude. If you're going to be a dumbass, just say I'm a dumbass. Okay.
Who's the fact that there's millions of people watching these NCAA tournament games, and some of them are going to watch the wrestling just because it's on right after. And I think that it did not feel like big time wrestling. Some of the problem was, you know, the crowd wasn't that big. But it just felt like, boom, we're in the ring. There's these guys. I think they needed like, you know, either like a super special match. I thought they were going to open with
a super special match on this great collision, Bryan. Dude, here's the problem. When everyone wants to work part-time, Dave, you can't do that. You can't just open the show with a big jacked monster like Bobby Lashley and say, okay, you got to go out there and work 15 minutes with
the best guys, Tony Khan.
You know what I mean, Dave? Like, that's the criticism you should be making. But you're just like talking like, oh, well, they can just WWE. The way he talks is just sort of like dismissive. Like, they can do whatever. It's just WWE's popular. But I mean, if they can just do this, they can just put a big super match together. No, they can't, because they don't have any draws there currently. And any of the people there who draw because of their WWE time, and they're not getting. I don't know. Dave is just so kooky with this shit.
hologram match on night 2, but that's fine that they didn't. But the idea is that you open with something so flashy and so crazy that it's not what people think pro wrestling.
The idea is you open with something that's so flashy and crazy that they think it's not pro wrestling. Or do they want sports-based wrestling and you open it like they open basketball games and football games with the people walk into the arena and you run down some accolades and then you have some shit announced already and then maybe Tessitore's like, we're in front of 13,000 sold out, and that, you know what I mean? Like, treat it like a sport or do whatever you're talking about. Dave, you want everyone to dress up like luchadors, don't you? Well, CMLL, you want everyone to dress up like luchadors. And you want them to do a ballet dance with Maki Ito to open the show, right? And then you want Moxley to come out with an axe in his forehead and be like, this is the cool wrestling show for kids, right, Dave? And then you're like, yes, and I'm the general manager now. Like, what are you talking about? What the they should do an opening monologue, or what do you...
Wrestling is, and that's the idea, is to do something.
And that's the idea. Yeah, that's the idea, that your brain is like firing off and your mouth is like, just say it. I'll just say that even though my brain is telling me not to. That's the idea that I just had randomly now when the holes in my brain aren't connecting and I can't have a thought. They're making it so my thoughts don't connect through the wires and my wiring in my skull. Like, what is going on here?
Thing where they go, whoa, wait a minute, man, this is really good. Daniel Garcia.
How do you got to do something not wrestling to let them know, whoa, this is really good. So the wrestling doesn't matter is what you're saying. So the wrestling show, and they like wrestling. The longer matches, the more competitive. So none of that matters. You just admitted it because you want them to do something other than wrestling to blow people away on the
stupid idiot.
Is that what you're telling me, base Dave Meltzer over here?
And Adam
checking in with Chad after this clip.
Cole was just two guys in the ring wrestling. Like, I'm watching, it's like
it was just two guys wrestling. Yeah, holy shit, bro. Dave, whoa, what just happened? Tony Khan's like,
emotional damage.
What just happened, dude?
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Dave it's just two guys wrestling. I mean, yeah, no shit. So Phil Marks has been right, and you listen to PWT. Like, what the? No shit, bro. This is what we've been saying. Where's the sickos going after you? You clown ass shill. Oh my god, dude.
Special about this? I mean,
what's special about this? Exactly. So when everyone's like, okay, when Action Andretti can do what Ospreay can do, what Fletcher can do, what Ricochet can do, what, you know what I'm saying? What who is that guy? Blake Christian can do. It's just the same shit. It's just a backflip. It's just guys doing moves. Now Dave's finally admitting that, and we were right, dude. Another win for the good guys, chat. What are you talking about? Another win for the good guys, man. Let's go.
Bryan.
Let's finish off what Dave has to say here.
Match was good, but it's like that's fine.
The match was good. Look at him explain wrestling now. Like he's just discovered, like him and Bryan are always explaining shit we've all said for a billion years. Dave finally realizing what pro wrestling's supposed to be, and he's about to explain it to everyone like he just invented it or thought of it. And his head, he looks like the leader from Captain America. He looks like the leader from the Hulk comics, dude. Jesus Christ. So let's listen to this idiot. Someone quote Julia Gulia, crop this whole Dave sentence here that he's about to say, explaining what wrestling is for me.
The match was good.
The match was good. So exactly. Well, I mean, Monet had a good match with Momo, but what does that matter when there's 8 million other matches and people are tired and they didn't have a good story? Dave's about to explain how spectacle and story are better than just a match. Holy shit, we got him.
But it's like that's fine for wrestling fans, but the show was not booked, especially the first match in both nights.
That's fine for wrestling fans. Oh, so it's important to get fans that aren't just wrestling fans and fuck a casual as your company's plummeting downwards in every metric.
Should not be booked for wrestling fans. It should be booked for doing something that will make.
So it should be booked for like WWE. Oh, so they should pretend they're popular and get celebrities. So Dave, without saying it, he can't say it. He's like, oh, casuals. This should be booked for more casual people. I mean, what the? That's what Dave's literally saying. Oh my God, we caught him. We defeated him. We defeated Dave.
Liar!
Julia, I'm going to bring this back and play it in one thing. Clip it for me.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
We caught him. We won. We won. PWT won. W is for winning.
The match was good, but it's like that's fine for wrestling fans, but this show was not booked, especially the first match in both nights, should not be booked for wrestling fans. It should be booked for doing something that will make people go, whoa, whatever that is, whether it's a big angle to promote your pay-per-view, which is probably the thing, or a match where they'll do something that people will just go, whoa, not just, oh, here's a 20-minute draw wrestling match.
We defeated Dave, dude. We defeated him. Absolutely. That is absolutely delicious right there. Okay? That is just a treat right there. We just blew him up into pieces. Glaze Meltzer goes, due to the NCAA basketball lead-ins, Collision on Saturday did 554K, 0.20. Sunday did 584K, 0.22. Sunday was AEW's biggest rating in a long time. True, but that's an inflated overall. When you play overalls, it means that they lost. You look at the number too. I think I bookmarked it. But they had a 3 million person lead in, and their average was still this low, man. With that inflated ass, because the NBA overran for like 6 minutes, and Meltzer's counting that shit. Okay? So that inflated it to 554 and 584. So that means literally like 2.5 million people were like this shit and just tuned out, or they just didn't care. That's what's insane, man. And a bunch of that number is people who just leave it on or fell asleep or whatever too. That's the truth. So Dave likes to block people. Here's WrestleGraphs. And Meltzer responds to WrestleGraphs, who says, Mr. Meltzer, you've made the claim a lot for somebody who has yet to show their work. You cannot know they are profitable, speaking of AEW, because the year has not concluded, and as of 2024, they were not profitable. Facts. Meltzer goes, I've shown my work. I've detailed my work. No, you have not. I discussed the finances for years before the latest deal was signed, Bryan. If you aren't reading my work, you have literally you having quite the audacity to make this claim. And then he blocked him. Do you know why he blocked him? Because WrestleGraphs, MJ, told the truth. That's why. When you tell the truth, when I told Dave, you're saying that Ariel's biased towards Nick Khan because they were friends. Well, you're friends with the Young Bucks, so doesn't that make you biased in this situation as well? And I'm like about Punk or whatever he was talking about, and then he blocks me because I told the truth. He looked in the mirror and he didn't like that shit, and he's like, oh, he called me out on he's not dumb enough to swindle. It's just that simple. So he blocks WrestleGraphs for just telling him the truth. Like, you can't actually claim. It's all based off estimates where there's no actual proof of what you're talking about because the max numbers are invisible. WrestleGraphs responds and says, no, Dave, you have never shown your work on the expenses side. You can't even show the work on the revenue side. You make claims with zero supporting evidence that even Tony pushed back on last year during a media call. You're also forecasting FCF, not profitability. Cute block. Destroyed him, man. Flutes in the chat. And then again, WrestleGraphs, he screen grabs this. So this guy here says, okay, Mr. Arrogant, I shall, like many, like wrestling, whether it be from WCW to AEW to TNA to WWE. So I put my opinion out there because Khan is acting petty towards Eric. Not once have I seen shit on somebody, whatever. Dave Meltzer goes, Khan is acting petty to Eric. Yeah, Dave's like, what? Tony isn't, but I am. He's like, I'm doing it for him, Bryan. I'll be petty to Dutch Mantel too. So Dave's like, actually, Khan is acting petty to Eric. That's a good one.
You want to know who is consumed by the other? Count the mentions each makes about the other over the course of a year. Yeah, but Dave, that's a cop-out because Tony's job is to shut the up and make wrestling shows. Eric's job is to talk about wrestling stuff. So this is like when idiots like Sap, they go onto my channel, search their name, and find 5 videos. 5. When I drop 3 every day minimum and sometimes stream. Drop 3 today and streamed. Okay? And you found 5 over my 2-year existence. I've put out 2 to 3 videos a day, sometimes 4. And you go, you're obsessed with the guy who reports the news. If Don Lemon searched his name and was like, oh, everybody's obsessed. Jason Momoa searches his name. I'm not saying you're that famous, but you're a public figure and people talk about it. If there was a channel that just started clipping my shit and talking about and reacting to what I have to say, I'm not going to cry about it, bro. That's their goddamn prerogative. Like you have, that's what I do by throwing my shit out there. What I have to say out there, it's crazy. It's like, it's not obsessed. It's just, now there is obsessive behavior, but I'm not like stalking. I'm not like DMing you, being like, answer me and shit. That would be obsessive. Okay, you'd have a point, but no one's doing that. It's not obsessed because you're a name. I'm not obsessed with Roman Reigns. Look up his name. And same with Meltzer. Well, look, who talks about who more? Okay, who hosts a talk show, dipshit? Who hosts multiple talk shows, dipshit? Okay, there you go. Dave, you're obsessed with WWE. You talk about it more than AEW. You're a WWE shill. You know what I'm saying? It's so stupid. That's such a dumb thing to play. You want to know who's consumed? Okay, over the course of the year, let me know that number. You'll have your answer. And then WrestleGraph says, how does Mr. Meltzer find these posts? That thread goes on for a mile, and he doesn't even seem tagged. He's not tagged. He's not. Does he search them out for engagement posting? Yes. Dave is psychotic. He's on Twitter all day. He's writing all day. He doesn't know how to work a computer properly. And yes, he's looking. He's reading these arguments and formulating like, I actually know. None of these people know. And he's responding to these idiots. He's searching it out. All of these mentally crazy folk, they all vanity search. They all are super chronically on X. I'm telling you right now. And Dave is one of these people, okay? So that's how we found it. So here is Meltzer said what? Saying after being white-splained by Dynamite Dave on Wrestling Observer Radio about why the Grande Americano segment was offensive, Bryan, Hispanic voice of reason Alvarez, gives a completely normal response while pitching a great idea from a listener to do a mask versus mask match at Mania with Ray versus Gabel. Exactly. So, guys, we were talking about Penta versus Dom, mustache versus mask, or Ray versus Dom, mustache. They could do Ray versus Gabel, mask versus mask. It could be so fun. Alvarez understands that. I don't see any like Latino people standing up and being like, this is outrageous. I just see a bunch of virtue signaling, white-splaining white knight like Dave, like they're all getting offended on behalf of people. Shut the fuck up. I love how Meltzer said what clips these things, okay? But let's listen to this.
And so I presume that would insult it.
And here, we'll give you a Bryan. I hope Dave's explanation of why it's offensive is in here, but yeah, let's listen to Bryan.
People was the video, right?
Apparently.
Or is it the character?
I don't know.
Is it the character or is it the video?
WWE, I don't know. I think I don't know.
Because as somebody pointed out to me today, and I hadn't thought about this, but they're correct. Mm-hmm. With the exception of the video package, how is El Grande Americano any different from Harley Graham?
Exactly, because it's WWE. Because it's WWE, Bryan, the Federation.
They're literally exactly the same. There's somebody putting on a mask, pretending to be a luchador, and pretending that they're not who they actually are. It's
Will holograms from the digital world like a Digimon, Bryan. He's not really a Mexican. Yes, he is. Oh.
Literally exactly the same. I didn't hear anyone ever complain about Harley Graham.
See, trying Bryan, dude.
So that tells me it must be the video, right? The video that the Chad Gable character provided to the company. Like,
his own iconography?
I do not understand.
Exactly. And it's AI. Oh, it's AI. So that's why they AI'd it, because how else Gabel just AI'd a video of this? Like, it makes the most sense in the world. It's so funny.
Personally, if you don't like it, that's fine. But I personally was not offended by it in any way. And somebody had a great idea here, which is, hey, we need a match for Mania. How about El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio, mask versus mask?
Genius.
Rey
Love it.
unmasks a guy, humiliates him. I mean,
They should let Penta do it, unfortunate, or maybe they'll let Dragon Lee do it. Ray is obviously a big star. You want him on Mania, so it'll probably be him. But yeah, that pop is going to be huge. And you could do that at Mania, or you just wait, like I said. That could be something that happens after Mania, too.
I am not offended by this. If you are, you're welcome to be. But I
didn't even know it was a controversy until this morning. I got to be honest. I was not online searching for it.
Yeah, so there's Bryan with a reasonable take. So we got this here. So Dave Meltzer, okay. This is what happened, okay? This is the numbers. A 2.8 million viewer to almost 2.9 million viewers, okay? And I said, so Dave Meltzer glazing this much higher collision rating is meaningless because they had a 3 million viewership lead in and they still only average 500K, a number greatly inflated by the 6-minute overrun of 3 million. If Dave didn't fear facts and studied and learned, he'd have pointed that part out. I just really am goading him in with that stuff as well, being like, if he studied and learned. People often ask me whether I think Dynamite Dave Meltzer, this is Meltzer said, what the GOAT. Oh, by the way, we have a GOAT here, okay? Meltzer said, what the GOAT, by the way. Oh, yeah, I was going to hit a GOAT sound. That's where this was going. Thanks everybody who's locked in too. I mean, it's late. I know we're going 4 hours. Yeah, we got some Dave to roast. So the GOAT Meltzer said, what says, people often ask me whether I think Dynamite Dave is on the AEW payroll, and my response is always the same. The scarier answer is if he's not on the payroll. Exactly. That means this is just his natural bias as a journalist. And let's read this. So this guy's like, Dougal McDougal says, anything to get that AEW pop, huh? Keep up the good work, Dave. It's really been showing lately. Dave goes, this wasn't about AEW. You have AEW derangement syndrome. This guy's like, George, not George Capture, but other George is like, Dave, you actually do any work? Anytime I open the app, you're always going back and forth with people all hours of the day. This admittedly is an atypical week, but it was 2 weeks ago. He's just a schmarmy, condescending prick. And he gets very gross in what is our main event of this Meltzer evening here. Okay. He gets very gross towards Triple H. And this really pissed me off because it's like, buddy, and he speculated on all this shit and he knows why what happened in that time as well. We know that Vince did like a last minute manic overhaul of WWE and NXT. He watched it. He didn't like what he saw. Lost to AEW in the ratings. Dave knows all of this, but instead he's like going to take a shot at Triple H when, regardless if Vince was pissed or not, Triple H was dealing with issues that we all know about, like health and heart issues. So Meltzer too, like this is how in the weeds he is. And it's so funny. You see cute Meltzer. He's so in the weeds with the Twitter vernacular that he's like starting to pick up this new like vernacular that he never really used before, Yeah, Meltzer can't help himself and he's on some bullshit here. And I'm going to read this. Please don't. So this guy actually says, RoboCop says, LOL, Trips got fired from NXT because losing to Dynamite made Vince so mad. And it wasn't just that. We all know it wasn't that. But Dave goes, please don't bring that up. It's one of the parts of history that nobody dares mention. And I go, Dave, he had a heart problem, you loser. This is why I'll clown you for infinity and you'll run away afraid of facts and learning. Boom. Roasted, toasted him. But for real, dude, this is why he doesn't get a pass with me. People are like, why do you waste your time? It's like, well, it's 15 minutes or half hour of a 4-hour live stream, whatever. I got the time, bro. PWT Universe has the time. And it's like, dude, you're a scumbag. You know that he had heart problems. You know that's primarily why he took a leave of absence, too. He didn't ever really get fired. He came back. He's always welcome. He's always been welcome. Vince was in the way. And Vince was everything up. And there was this big scandal. It's not just because, like, oh, he got fired because NXT
Like they switched up NXT and they moved Triple H up to the main roster. So he got promoted in a way, right? But you're a dumb idiot who's got to talk shit. And yet you lick Tony's balls, man. You would never say this about Tony Khan. You would never say it.
Tony Khan.
And this is why you always get clowned to oblivion forever.
Smash your knee to oblivion.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's disgusting dumb moment of the week.